Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giant football? If so, sit back and relax. Except you, that person driving. Sit up and keep your eyes on the road. Your ears, though, can still listen as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, the New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm me, I'm Rob. Where did my mustache go?
I don't know. Where'd it go? I don't know.
Oh, it disappeared.
It must have been Luigi.
Yeah. He snipped it in my sleep.
Alrighty, guys. So I know we've been doing tons and tons and tons of draft coverage here for you guys. And we have one more episode about the draft for you here. We want to go ahead and review for you guys the rest of the NFC East and how they did this draft season, because we know how the Giants did. Everybody's talking about that. I got to be honest. I don't hear anybody really, let's compare to what the rest of the NFC East are doing. So Rob and I said, you know what? We're going to be that guy.
Let's go. Let's do
that guy. Yes, we want to illuminate everybody on what's going on with everything. As I forget to turn my lights on. I can't believe I did that. All righty, guys. So before we get into that, we do have a little bit of Giants news for you guys. We did sign someone today. Oh, even before that, we're gonna wait to the signing, and then we'll get into that. I knew where you're going. Ready?
It's time for the news.
Yes, the news is that we did shine. We did sign.
Not sign. So we're not.
I saw the sign and opened up my eyes. I saw the sign. We signed O'Shane Ximines, the edge rusher, again to be a New York Giant for a 5th season. Which, scary enough, is this is one of the very few Giants to get a second contract as a New York Giant after being drafted by us. It's really not a very high hit rate we've had.
Especially the past half a decade.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, though, he's a camp body. He might not even make it out of camp the way he plays the last couple of years. So, but at least we have another body.
Listen,
something you'll never hear the FBI say.
That's terrible.
Oh, it's horrible. I made a dead body joke. Left the body to the floor like the singers did. Oh.
I thought it was only I could count to 4.
It might be. That's what's wrong with him. Alrighty, guys. Before we get into all the rest of the draft here, as far as comparing the rest of the NFCs, we do want to go ahead and once again thank our sponsors. We're again presented by Manscaped.
Bomb.
Oh yes. So again, guys, remember with the promo code Goofballs, you save 20% off your order. Plus, you get free shipping at Manscaped.com. Again, that's 20% off your order and free shipping at Manscaped.com with the promo code Goofballs. And again, summer's coming, guys. Summer is coming. You're going to start sweating out of places you didn't worry about before. You know, you have to worry about,
or you worried about and you nicked it up. So let's save that. And listen,
I was wondering what that paper sound was. Oh, he's got the paper. Are you really breaking out the photos?
You can't see it, but in their advertisements of their paper, they show you some fun ideas what you could do with their Manscaped.
Oh, yeah.
With their lawnmower 4.0.
Manscaping.
That's what's up here.
I just got to say, guys, whoever is listening and not watching is missing some prime footage here of Rob showing pictures of
the Shamrock.
I'm not sure if that's going to help or hurt the viewership ratings.
There's no junk pictures.
Yeah, it left that out. Just one of them was like a Sideshow Bob looking kind of.
It is a little bit.
You like a little Sideshow Bob.
It is. That's called the Flower Power.
Yeah, the Flower Power. I don't think I ever want to call my area down there the Flower Power.
Yeah, see, I'm a fan of the Get Lucky the Shamrock.
Alrighty, guys. Again, 20% off plus free shipping at Manscaped.com. We got the Lawnmower 4.0. You got the Weed Whacker. You got all the good doodads that come with. Again, the boxers. I keep on telling you guys, but the boxers are tremendous.
Hey, listen,
seriously,
this shirt's fantastic.
I know. I wish I knew where mine was right now. Somewhere in my home. We're getting ready to pack for that vacation, so the house is getting a little chaotic.
So
yes,
let's go with you on vacation.
It's time. It's time. Oh, listen, I'm not going to be on a cruise boat wearing your balls will thank you shirt. Okay, it's not that kind of cruise.
Could be.
All righty, guys. So let's break right into the NFC East here and what they did. And I think we got to start with the Philadelphia Eagles because you're talking about yeah, I mean, oh my God, the amount of press this team has gotten. You swore they just won a Super Bowl. Oh wait, no, they lost. That's right, they lost. So we're subject to Eagle fans, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, literally the rumor was that the NFL got calls from other organizations complaining about how much praise the Philadelphia Eagles were getting from the NFL Network during that. So, yeah, again, the NFL can't control what other broadcasters say, whether they're on their network or not. That's horrendous. I would hate that if the NFL was telling their guys, you can't talk about the Eagles. People are complaining. The rest of the teams need some love.
Oh, you guys have been doing it so well.
Oh, yeah.
Like, listen, if that happened to the Giants,
yep.
Let me tell you, because Drew, I'm pretty sure I'm speaking for you, but I feel like you agree. We will go bananas. Like,
oh yeah.
After that, we had a great draft.
And pajamas. We'd be going full on banana split.
Yeah, shaved banana splits. Manscaped.
I don't want the NFL telling their people what they can or can't say. Don't get me wrong, they do. Yeah. There's no doubt about that. There's definitely do, but it's a little ridiculous. As we got Dakota Hammonds here, a local Eagles fan, of course. Let's freaking go, barely. And 35-30, I'd love to see the Giants play that game. And also, he gives us some kudos, and everyone says you had a great draft. See, even Eagles fans have some good ones out there occasionally. So, yeah, I mean, let's get right into it. So before the draft even started, the Eagles made a trade, actually. It didn't get nearly the publicity that I thought it should have gotten.
Especially after this draft.
Turned out the Arizona Cardinals got caught with their hand in the cookie jar talking to their defensive coordinator when he was still their defensive coordinator when they weren't supposed to be talking to the defensive coordinator. So instead of doing a big old ordeal and everything, they did a trade of the two teams together that was obviously lopsided towards the Eagles to go ahead and pay them back for their transgression, so to speak. So the Eagles traded away where'd it go here? I got it here. They traded
away their first round pick, number 10 overall in 2024.
No, hold on. That's the Bears. That's the wrong one. They made a lot of trades.
There you go.
The Eagles traded away their third round pick, which was number 94 overall, to the Cardinals, along with a fourth round pick, and got number 66. So they moved up basically a whole entire round, but they're also giving up a fifth round pick next year. Honestly, that's depending on how you look at next year's draft, that's not that lopsided. So they kind of got off pretty easy there. As Connor said, hey, what's up, Connor? Guess Roberto wanted his face to match his balls. He manscaped his face more. Listen, Connor, I'm gonna have to take your word for that. If the drapes and the
let me show you guys
carpet match. So, but yeah, like I said, I thought it was interesting. That kind of got swept under the rug. Simple trade. Ignore that it happened, so to speak. Like, that's kind of a big deal because we've been talking about forever the issues of being a coordinator on a team going to a Super Bowl, and now you got a team circumventing that. And what do? Slap on the wrist, slappity slap. So yeah, not too big a fan of that move personally. Let's get into the actual picks itself. So, do you want to go over the trade that they did for their first round pick, Rob? Since you already going through it.
So we're halfway through it.
I went out of turn based on our notes. I do that every so often to keep you on your toes.
Big old jerk. But yeah, the Eagles traded their 2023 first round pick, 10th overall, and their 2024 fourth pick to the Bears to move up to number 9 overall in 2023.
Yes. And let me just say this. For those Giant fans that are listening that were upset about the trade we did in the end of the first round, let's analyze that for a second. We gave up a 5th and a 7th to move up a pick. They gave up a 4th. That 7th round pick is useless, guys. Useless.
Yeah. That you're happy if they make the practice squad.
So why do I not hear anybody complaining that the Eagles did it? It just seems a little and I'm not even saying as far as media, I'm saying even Giants fans, they're like, oh my God, the Eagles did this move. It was a great move. But when the Giants did it, even Giant fans are like, what the hell? Why would you do that?
Listen,
guys, can't have your cake and eat it too.
They know the player, the coaches and the staff know the player that they want to draft.
Yep.
They were afraid of losing that player, so they made the move that they thought was right to get that player. And if it works in your organization, that's the right move.
And that's exactly what the Eagles did. So the Eagles went ahead and traded up one spot to guarantee they get Jalen Carter, defensive tackle out of Georgia. And I'll say we talked about him obviously during our pre-draft talk about the D-line. He was our number one D lineman on the board, 100%. Obviously, I didn't include edge rushers. I did think Will Anderson was a better defensive prospect, but he was the second best defensive prospect, the best D-line prospect there was in this entire draft. 6'3", 310 pounds, big boy.
Yeah, huge boy.
Yeah, but we do got to talk about the off-field issues. I mean, he had that horrible pro day where he couldn't even do his whole entire routine. He had the off-field issues with the issue with one of the Georgia players. I think died even in the car, if I remember correctly. I didn't write down my notes here. I think someone died even in this accident they had in Georgia, if I remember right. There's some red flags there going on.
Welcome
so you
to
have
Philly.
So you that's more welcome to Dallas usually,
or the Raiders.
But yeah, I mean, you have to look at the fact that, is this now something that you have to look at going, okay, is he going to have any issues because of that? So they're saying, okay, I'm looking right here. Yeah, so the car crash killed two people. He pleaded no guilty, avoiding jail time. I mean, but again, you got to question when you got a guy who's literally your number one prospect, you traded away even an extra pick to get this guy. And this is what happened. Yeah. As Beef just confirms the same thing as well. This is believes two people that died in that racing wreck. Yeah, two people. I mean, you as an NFL prospect have to do two things that are more important than every single other thing you could possibly do.
Make sure you invite to your birthday party.
Well, besides the birthday party. Did you even watch that movie yet?
I have not.
Go watch Draft Day. Kevin Costner. So number one, keep your butt out of trouble. Not that difficult. You can party it up all you want once you get your millions. You have this whole entire, couple of weeks after the draft to go ahead before rookie minicamp goes to party it up, live it up, enjoy life. Do it by all means. They're all young. They should enjoy it. We all enjoyed our youth.
Too much.
Speak for yourself. I'm still enjoying it. It's gone, and I'm still trying to squeeze the last ounce out of it. Number two, work your tail off and be in shape. He didn't do either one of those two things. So I'm not condemning the man. I'm just saying this is, to me, not a slam dunk a pick as some others think. I do think it was the right move at number 9. It wasn't a bad draft pick. But it doesn't come without risks is all I'm getting at.
Yeah, so I guess we'll start with the negatives. Because if someone comes in your camp out of shape, reckless, how's he going to be in camp and on the field going forward? Like, he's young. He's going to make mistakes. I made plenty in my youth. I make plenty now. Not to take it away from what he's done. Especially, he's balling because he's going to be a top prospect.
Yeah.
We get it. But you're showing that you're not determined at your future career at that position if you're not taking it seriously off the field. Do stupid stuff. Just hide it better. You don't have to go racing.
Oh, yeah. Listen, have house parties, get drunk, get wild.
Yeah.
But make sure everything's recorded so you don't get in trouble and don't leave the house. That's simple. It's not as difficult as some make it seem like that. Again, you're young. You have things thrown your way that most people have never had thrown their way their entire life. I get it.
Yeah.
Have your fun.
Pay for an Uber.
Do it in a way that you're not going to get in trouble. That's all I'm saying. All right.
But
now
that
we
being
got that
said,
part of it taken away. Let's go into the good, because like I said, it's still a lot of
the
good. I'm not
cheese,
knocking the player. I'm not knocking the pick. I just, again, it's not as slam dunk as some people think it is because of the off-field issues. If that's not a red flag, I don't know what is.
But you also have to think, like, Philly, like, they draft their backups before they need them to start, which is
correct.
Which is the smart way to do it.
Yep.
So kudos to them. Like, that's
seriously,
one of the last times I'm going to give them the prospects of it. But you're taking 9th overall, a strong guy that really, I had to pause myself, really knows how to get off his first step.
Oh, yeah. But before he gets off, he manscapes with Manscaped. Yeah. Again, save 20% plus free shipping at manscaped.com.
And you should see the size of this guy. Athletic.
But here's the thing, and what you said is correct, because, I mean, let's be honest. Fletcher Cox is getting a little longer the tooth year by year, where he's going to be gone soon. Jordan Davis, they already did that last year with, at that point, they lost Hargrave to the 49ers. So Jordan Davis hypothetically can take Hargrave's spot, or, you know, Jalen Carter could take that spot if he beats him out, and you still have a 3-team rotation at that point. Yeah. But the rotation is part of the concern we also have with Jalen Carter as well, because Georgia rotates players in and out. And when he wasn't rotated, but when he wasn't rotated, when it was important parts of the game, he looked gassed a little bit, which questions again, is there an issue with him and his athleticism, is his you know, his work ethic? And again, I don't want to question it without knowing it. I'm just saying the possibility is there that we have to see, is that an issue? You know, he also only started for 1 year, had some injuries, stat line didn't explode. The tape is what exploded. When you watch the tape on him, that's when you can see the quick moves, you can see the speed, you can see the athleticism he has for a guy his size. So again,
especially as you draft him as a backup, not 100% starter, like, it's a great pick.
I'll say this, a potential starter is what I would characterize him at. Because again, Cox is going to be coming in and out. I had to say it that way.
Best name of football.
You know, Jordan Davis is probably going to be coming in and out as well. So again, he's going to be on the field no matter what, probably as part of a 3-man rotation, basically with those three. But he has to still show that he can translate the skills you see on tape to actual production in the NFL. And that's a normal Georgia thing. We're going to talk about another Georgia guy in a moment, and same exact thing. But we talked about that with Walker last year. We talked about with Ojulari 2 years ago. And that's what happens. These Georgia guys, there's so many good players. They rotate in and out. Not one of them basically is a star. Let's see. Connor says, love draft day. Costner rules. I want my picks back, and I want David goddamn putting just because I feel like it. Come on, Tom. Oh, well, maybe. We'll leave that one off there. I gotta watch the movie. I haven't watched that movie in a couple of years. I literally watched it like twice, and that's it ever. It's a good movie though. Alrighty, but like I said, again, I don't hate the pick. I know I talked a little about the negatives just because I feel like nobody else has been. But again, it's not a surefire pick. There's a ton of great potential to be a boom or bust in this pick. This could be a guy that is their next Fletcher Cox. If you got Fletcher Cox number 9, you're happy. It could also be their guy that is, you know, the next Albert Hainsworth. Got his money. He don't care anymore. So
you definitely don't want to see that.
No, and listen, number 9 overall, you're getting paid right there. You're getting paid right out the gate.
Yeah.
You know, he's still going to get like $10 million a year or something like that. I can look up the exact numbers, but he's still going to get some good money. So, like I said, I don't think it comes without potential issues, but I think the risk is definitely worth to get the possible reward. I'll put it that way. All right.
Yeah.
What are you looking at there?
I was trying to look at Connor's his comment as he took it off the screen abruptly.
I had to take it off promptly. It had an F-bomb in it. Could be children present. There could be children present. That's MTV's job, not mine. All right. Second pick overall they had. Number 30 overall. So they had a second first-round pick. Nolan Smith out of, again, surprise, Georgia. Everybody's talking about that the whole draft now. They have all of Georgia's defense and all of Alabama's offense.
That's what I said. They pretty much moved up everyone from Georgia and Alabama up to Philly.
Basically, so Nolan Smith, edge rusher, out of Georgia, 6'3", 235, 4.39 40, absolute combine beast. And we talked about him also during our edge rusher episode we had there. That was the nice thing when we did this episode. Half of them already had notes on. So we talked about the fact he could, goes back in coverage well, relies on speed though too much, needs a little more power. He also has trouble getting off blocks, especially against the run. And again, that's another issue where you can say he needs to add some strength to him. I look at him as a potential like Bruce Irvin kind of guy, and I don't make pro comps very often, but that's a guy I think he's going to be like a good pass rusher, not great against the run, but a guy that have a nice long career because he can get to the quarterback with some consistency, maybe not elite consistency, but still consistency.
Yeah.
100%. And that's a good pick at 30.
100%. Listen.
Yeah.
You buzz the quarterback, makes him go under pressure, makes mistakes.
Yeah. Like I said, I think that's a good pick for them. I hate to say it. All right. So now also we got another trade. Because God forbid the Eagles go one round without a trade. I'm sorry, like they have so many. We're gonna spend half our episode talking to the Eagles just to go over the trades.
Pretty much.
So Eagles traded their second round pick, number 62 overall, to the Texans. They get back number 65, number 188, and number 230. Now think about that for a moment. We're talking about dropping down 3 picks, even though it's a difference in a round, second round to third round now at that point there. They're going and they're dropping down 3 picks, and they gave up a 6th and a 7th. And we complained about the Giants giving up a third round. Not we, but other people. Again, this is something that I look at and go, wait a minute, why are we complaining about this? We didn't give up that much. I just want to reiterate that. I'm going to reiterate that a few times probably till it drills into people's heads. I still see people complaining about it. And again, we didn't like the pick. We have no problem going up to get the guy you want though. So anyway, their next one was 65 overall from that trade from the Houston Texans. Tyler Steen, offensive lineman, 6'8", 315 pounds, athletic, good range, does lack some strength and physicality, and has inconsistent technique. This was not a guy we even had on our radar.
No.
He just missed our radar, actually. Because I remember looking at him and looking at tape and everything when we're doing our top 10 tackles and top 10 interior offensive linemen. And there was a few guys that got drafted, obviously, that just missed the bubble. This guy just missed the bubble. Honestly, I don't like the pick. I think he's not a bad player, but I think it's a little early to take him. I think there was better options personally. But again, they like their Alabamas.
I was about to say, they obviously scouted and saw something they like with how they play. And hopefully, Drew, you're right. Hopefully, it's not the best pick for him.
I usually am. Usually. All right. And then after 65, they go right again at 66.
Back to back.
Back to back. This is the pick they got in that Cardinals issue there. So they went Sidney Brown, safety out of Illinois. And I liked him a lot. I really I'm kind of upset they got him. This was a player that I liked a lot. This is the guy that flies all over the field. Good size, athletic, versatile, because he can play, in the slot if need be. He can play as a free safety, as a strong safety. The only problem with him is you look at him as a bad tackler, and I think that's something you could fix. Like he's that guy that just try to ram with the shoulders and thinks that's enough to get him down. That may work against some college guys. That's not going to work in the NFL,
especially some of these bigger guys. But Drew, that being said, you like him a lot. Would you rather have him at 57 than what we got?
No.
Okay, just want to put that out there.
Schmitz is a better player, and it was a need.
Yeah. Okay, I agree with that. I just wanted to put it out there.
Yeah,
podcasting. We wanted opinions. Our fans deserve to know opinions.
I understand. Yeah. So, like I said, we had a round 3 grade on him, so they got him exactly where we thought he should have gone. So I can't make anything bad. As much as I want to bash the Eagles every chance I get, I can't say a thing wrong about it. So, good job, Eagles, I guess. We hate you.
Then
we got the Eagles made a trade.
No.
I know, it's shocking. It's shocking. Eagles traded away a 2024 third-round pick to the Texans for pick number 105 in the fourth round. Yeah. As Dakota says, I don't hate you. It's okay. We don't hate you, Dakota. It's the Eagles we hate. It's the team you root for.
Yeah.
I can separate the two. This was the steal of the draft. And I have to think there's got to be something that you and I don't know about Rob. Medical or something with this guy.
We said a lot through the draft.
Yeah, Keely Ringo. 6'2", 207 pounds, 31 and a quarter inch arms, 8.5 inch hands, 4'3", 640.
That's everything you want in a center. At a corner.
At a corner. I mean, listen, as Dakota, I see your comment, Dakota. I'm not putting that one up. So yeah, I mean, speedy, elite size, physical. The guy has the tools to be an elite shutdown corner in this league. His play that was inconsistent in college, but the physical tools are there. So it's, can you coach him up to be an elite guy in the NFL? And that's the question. We don't know. Definitely a boomer bust kind of guy, but to get him at pick 105 is a freaking steal. We had like a second round grade on him. That
is 100% the gamble you want to take. Unless he tore his ACL in the offseason and he hid it from everyone.
Something. I mean, because it's weird because, I mean, you look at the trade on paper and the Eagles gave up a third round pick next year.
So they obviously like this guy a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes no sense. But yeah, they got him. Hate that they got him. We were all talking the whole entire. We're talking like live in the draft, going, "Why is no one taking Ringo? Why was no one taking Ringo? Where's the Ringo? Ringo." We were asking for a Ringo so much, we're like a desperate woman looking to get married. It was just bad. I mean, like I want to see why he dropped, but in the meantime, keep in mind their corners are not young. James Bradbury is on the wrong side of 30, not by much, but he is.
Easy with that.
Darius Slay is what, 34? I want to say.
Maybe a little younger than that, but not far off.
32. Okay, I was
going to say
32. Yeah. 2 years off. That's not too bad. So
it fell a long way.
So in the end, 32 is like you're a year or two away from becoming a safety or being out of this league. Basically, let's call it what it is. Hate to say it, but it's the truth. It's a young man's game corner. So they got a guy now they can develop behind him, be their third corner, maybe play the slot for a little bit, be their backup in case one of them gets hurt, and then steps in a year or two and becomes a starter. Like I said, I can't complain about it. Great pickup. Steal of the draft.
Yeah.
Here's the one I can complain about. And I complain about it with a smile. 6th round, pick 188. Tanner McKee. And this was one of the picks they got from the Houston Texans, one of their trades, at a Stanford University.
Well-educated gentleman.
6'6", 231 pounds, good size, talented arm. And you look at that and say, wait a minute, why are you laughing? Because you can't improvise worth a damn. You get him any kind of footsteps towards him whatsoever, he just
it's like a deer in headlights.
Yes. He is like a poorly constructed piñata.
You know what he is? If you went on Madden and you're making your own quarterback, you're like, what's the size you want? What's the weight you want? You want some good accuracy? And you got all the way down to like under pressure and you ran out of all your points. And you ran out of points. That's what you got of this guy. Because as soon as he's under pressure, he's like a deer in headlights.
And you would think if you had those issues, you want some mobility, some ability to get out of the pocket and that kind of stuff. No, his feet are slow as hell. He's a statue back there. And he also has accuracy issues on top of that. But if you want a guy who can throw the ball down really far downfield and has good size to him, this is your guy.
Who's that? Jamarcus Russell?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm a bit confused by it. But maybe they see something I don't. I don't know.
This is also why we're not making six figures as a scout.
I should be.
Yeah, me too. NFL, call me up.
Yes. All right, we got some more trades here. God forbid. So they have so many late round trades. The Eagles go ahead and did traded 230 and 248 to the Texans for 191. That was so. Yeah. Then they traded 191 to the Bucks for a fifth round pick next year. So they make two trades. They trade their 2 7th-round picks for a 6th. Then turn around and trade that 6th to a 5th next year.
Who knows? They might be able to use that as trade bait to trade up next year.
They could be a 4th next year.
Yeah.
Moving on up.
To the east side.
To a deluxe apartment in the sky. But yeah, no, like I said, they had extra picks, and that's what they decided to do. I mean, again, it makes sense. It does. I hate to say it, but it does.
Trade for capital for the future.
So, on to their last pick. 7th round, pick 249. Defensive lineman, Moro Ojomo, which is a pick they got originally from the Detroit Lions. Kids from Texas. 6'3", 281 pounds. So good size and length. Kind of light for a tackle overall, though. Smart player, good effort, high motor, limited in production, though, in college. And I think part of it is he's a tweener. He's too big to be a defensive end. He's too small to be a tackle. So I think the big thing is they got to figure out where they're going to put this guy and see what they can make out of him. But
he's either going to cut weight or gain weight.
A guy with a high motor, good player, smart player. That's the guy you take a shot on the 7th round. So again, I can't complain about the pick. Can't complain. I'd love to.
Yeah.
Now here's another one. Another trade. God forbid. I'm going to include this as part of the draft class, even though it's not a draft class trade necessarily. Eagles also acquired DeAndre Swift from the Detroit Lions. In the end, that pick they just used, that's where they got that pick from. And they also then gave up a 4th-round pick in 2025 and a 7th-round pick this year. So they gave a 4th-round pick in 2 years. Why would the Lions take this?
They were desperate to get rid of this guy.
I seriously. I think there was something going on before the draft. There had to be.
Yeah, there had to be. Because they were adamant about getting rid of.
Yeah. It's not just that. Why would you go get trade for draft Gibbs at that point unless there was an issue? You already brought in one running back. You're bringing a second running back, and you already had a running back there. So now you got 3.
Yeah, there's something that the Lions know that we don't.
Yep.
So if DeAndre Swift, if you want to come on the podcast, just let us know.
The email is.
Yeah.
That's what I'm sure. The guy that got traded from the Lions to the Eagles wants to come on a Giants podcast to talk about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, overall, I'll say this. I'm still going to give them an A+ because of the talent they got in. And honestly, what brings it up to A+ instead of an A is purely the Ringo move. Purely.
Well, that and just setting yourself up. But you have so many picks in this draft, you set yourself up for next year's draft as well. You took some poor draft picks. Not saying you're going to get poor players, but the probability of getting poor players, and you trade up to the 5th round the following year, which could go to the 4th round.
Yep. But again, they don't come without risk. Some of the moves they made. Their top picks are a guy who's on his pro day, had trouble and as a senior or junior. And then you have also another guy who didn't have production in college to couple with that guy who also didn't have production in college. So again, it's not that they're, oh my God, he's going to be all pro players left and right at this draft class for them, but they did well where they were at.
Yeah,
So
listen, if they play above average in NFL, they didn't do a bad job.
yeah.
Like,
Now
what's your number one overall to be great, but
let's get to
A+.
two teams. Let's get to two teams that didn't do very good.
Josh B for number 2.
tired of saying nice things about the Eagles. I mean, honestly, the Eagles and the Giants both had good drafts.
Yeah,
they both did. I give them both positive grades for it.
I give the Eagles like, if there's in between an A and A+, that's where they get, because there's some things that I was shaky about, but when they got a lot of their picks, they did a great job. Giants for me were between a B+ and an A-, so that's pretty good. Now we're going to talk about the B- the C's.
like I said, the only reason I like the Giants because they were drafted because they were in a position where they had holes. Let's be honest, they did, and they filled those holes with the first 3 picks.
Without Cox.
No, that was Fletcher Cox. He's an Eagle.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, as Dakota says, we're going back, gonna win it this time. Listen, you've had 3 chances? You've won it once now. Am I right in that? Hold on.
Maybe 4.
4 chances. 4 chances. You've won it once now. The track record is not good, Dakota. Just saying. Let's get on to the Cowboys. So, Cowboys first round, pick 26, Mazi Smith, defensive tackle out of Michigan. And, it's a guy that we liked a lot in our talk about interior defensive linemen. We liked him a lot in the second round, though.
Yes.
They reached for a position, I think, personally. And I think what it was is part of the rumors were that we jumped the Cowboys for where they wanted to be at pick 24 because they wanted to jump us. And I don't know if they wanted the same player at that point or whatever the case may be. I don't know if they were trying to get Banks as well. But that's who they got in the end. And
that's what the rumor has it was that when we traded with the Jags, they came back to us for a counteroffer.
Yeah. And, if you watch, there was actually tape of the Cowboys. This is one thing I find funny about the Cowboys. They give us too much information. So the Cowboys were talking about drafting the tackle from Syracuse or Mazi Smith. So we knew exactly who they were interested in. And don't get me wrong, like after the fact doesn't really help too much, but it's like, why would you give that information out? It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And that was Matthew Bergeron. We talked about him as well. He's one of those T-Rex arms kind of tackles who weren't quite sure if he's going to make it as a tackle or if he's going to move into guard. But that's who they were talking about taking as well. Again, 2 guys we had a second round grade on. That's who they were taking. And we talked about this during the pre-draft. There wasn't a ton of players with a first round grade. That's what it boils down to. So they took who they thought was the best of the 2 of the guys left over, basically. I think there was better options for them on the board, but that's what they did. So not a bad player. I just don't think he's going to live up to that position of being picked. So not a good pick for that reason. All righty. Second round, pick 58, Luke Schoonmaker, tight end out of Michigan. Another guy we've talked about again. Like I said, I love the fact that we had only half the homework to do for this episode because of that. 6'5", 251, very willing blocker. Probably his best trait is he's a big time run blocker. Does vertical seam kind of throws there. Very competitive guy. Not good at contested catches. Not good at yards after catch. Things that you expect a tight end to be good at. And his performance overall was underwhelming.
He's the blocking tight end. He's not the guy that's going to replace Schultz like they wanted to.
Yes.
Like Schultz was a guy that would go, he could block and he could also, catch the ball and be a safety blanket for a Dak. But who knows? We'd be wrong because we were wrong about Bellinger doing the same thing. But we're probably right about this one.
But here's the difference. Where was Bellinger drafted?
There's a big difference. You're right.
He was drafted in the 4th round. And we said the Giants think there's some potential there. I mean, the difference is Bellinger never got a chance to show if he could do it or not. We talked about that with some other players, especially running backs never got a chance. We talked about the running backs. Bellinger never got a chance to be a receiver. It just wasn't the offense he was in. Schoonmaker had the chance. just didn't show it. So we had a 4th to 5th round grade on him. They took him in the 2nd round. Good job, Cowboys.
Talk about reaching.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Any more reaching if you reach around. Hello.
Ooh.
All righty. Next pick. Round 3, pick 90. DeMarvion Overshone, linebacker out of Texas. Another guy we talked about. Gotta love it. So,
also another guy we talked about. Go later, but anyway.
Yeah, yeah. That's another one they picked way too early there. 6'3", 229. Good size and length, athletic and quick, violent tackler overall, but not good against the run. Missed a lot of tackles, and he's smaller. He's 229. That's practically a safety. Seriously, if he went bulimic for one day, he'd be a safety. Like, I'm not suggesting he goes bulimic by any means. Not trying to be mean about anybody who might know somebody with an eating disorder, but he's not far off from it. I mean, we talked about safeties being like 215, 220. He's 229.
Yeah.
Like, what we used to do in wrestling, go put some sweats on, run around the gym a few times. You'll be 220.
Hang out in the boiler room.
Yeah, you'll be at 220 in no time. Oh my God. So we had
45 minutes, you'll be all right.
We had a round 4 or 5 grade on him.
Number 3. Round number 3.
Round 3.
Yeah.
It's a little bit early. That's like that's about as premature as Jim and American Pie. Just saying.
In the apple pie.
Oh no. I was talking about with Shannon.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh yes. Especially was on tape. Poor guy. Luckily, he found the band geek. Oh, spoiler alert.
For a movie that's 25 years old.
Not 25 years old. That was what, 98? 24. No, 25. God damn it, it is 25 years old. Oh my God, I'm old.
I was thinking 1999. I just said quick.
Old. I'm so old. It might be 99 actually, but either way, I'm old. Alrighty. Back to the picks. They're young. That'll make me feel old too because they're so young.
The movie's older than some of these guys that got drafted.
It is older than most of these guys that got drafted, except for the 5th-year seniors.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Pick number 129 in the 4th round. Falami Falco.
Falco.
Out of San Jose State.
San Jose.
Yeah. San Jose. Not to be confused with the Sharks.
Yeah. Who did not make it to playoffs.
No, I don't know. I don't watch hockey. I can't. I honestly. Okay, so
Devils are in round 2 of the playoffs. Let's go.
Brief sidetrack here. So the Tampa Bay area is a huge hockey area. I would never have thought of that before I moved here. As Tampa Bay, surrounded by water everywhere, is the hockey town. That's just insanity to me. But yeah, I don't watch it at all. Everybody tells me I should. So
it's like soccer and ice.
Yeah, basically. So, but it's like, to me, I always say it's frozen soccer with a stick.
Listen, just go to a game. Just go to a game.
Everybody says that. Listen,
live hockey is some of the best sports to watch.
And it's really easy to get to from here. It's like 20 minutes from my house, but still, I'm good. Anyway, 6'4", 263 pounds. Has good pass rush production. Versatile, high motor. But here's the thing. Also got a low ceiling. And people think basically he's kind of reached his peak, so to speak, there.
Shot his load.
Yeah.
Talking about American Pie.
He's not a youngin'. He's not a youngin'. So he also lacks explosiveness. So he does it with his strength. So if you got a guy that can't bully, he's basically useless. But again, he's a 4th round pick. So even though it's a Cowboy pick, I hate to seem like when I'm being negative that I'm saying it's a bad pick necessarily right off that alone. If you get him in the 4th round, there are some issues you got to fix.
Yeah. And you can fix explosiveness. You can't fix the overall strength and size of the body.
Yeah, I'll take a guy with high motor. Even the low ceiling kind of scares me there a little bit there, but actually doesn't scare me. It makes me happy, but if it was a giant pick, it would scare me.
Yeah.
Again, 4th round, late pick, not a bad pick there at that point. There, you can always use some more pass rushers. That's for sure. All righty, round 6, pick 178. Eric Scott Jr., cornerback.
Never trust a man with 2 first names.
Southern Miss. Oh, Touche. 6'2", 202 pounds. He did a 4.640. Yes, I said that correctly. A 4.640. I saw that at first, and I was like, "Oh my god, how the hell do you do a 4.640 and expect to get to the NFL?" Then I read that he actually pulled a quad while he was running.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, but it's part of what you got to talk about with him because we don't know his actual speed because he pulled that quad and obviously he wasn't going to go do it again. He pulled a quad. He was done for the day at that point. But obviously, good size to him as far as his height, but he's very thin for that. He lost to big receivers. He was also no help in the run game. I mean, again, it's a late round pick. If it's a position of need and there's not huge red flags, you're good. You know?
Yeah.
Now, they did have a second round 6 pick. This is the most interesting pick in their draft. The most interesting. Because this man, like, if you ever wanted to bring back 21 Jump Street, this would be the NFL player to put in 21 Jump Street because he could easily pass for a high schooler and probably will for multiple years to come. Pick 212, round 6, Deuce Vaughn, running back out of Kansas State. And I have a feeling he's not in Kansas anymore. He's about to get hit like he's never been hit before. So there's been some complaints about nepotism with this guy because his son is Chris Vaughn, the director's, the assistant director. Oh, yeah, his son. His son.
His father, the son.
His 2-year-old child, and the Holy Spirit.
Chris Vaughn of the Cowboys.
Yeah. His father is Chris Vaughn, Cowboys assistant director of college scouting. Now, from all accounts, Chris had no clue. They kept him out of the dark as far as their thoughts on him. That's at least what the Cowboys were saying. I don't know how much I buy that per se. And in the end, I don't think it's nepotism because this is a guy that people were talking about as being a low-end draft pick. And where'd he go? Low-end in the draft. I mean, can you say maybe the Cowboys went for a guy because they knew his father? I mean, maybe. Yeah, that's not a bad thing. I know the guy who raised him. I know his upbringing.
Yeah.
Crazy thought.
Oh, my God. We've seen him most of his life.
Yes.
How does he play? How does he act off the field?
We know too much about him.
Oh, jeez. Terrible scouting. Super zoom.
Yeah, so, again, I'm okay with that personally. I don't see a big issue with it. I don't know why people are making it into a big issue. That's all I just don't.
And listen, it's not like they took him in the 6th round. He's 212 overall.
Yep.
And he's not 180 pounds. There are high school players that are bigger than this guy. So if anything, they may have taken this guy a little too early, too premature.
I don't think it's too early. I think it's just so he had a very good college campaign, and he's an outlier in the size. Again, 5'5", 179 pounds. But you take the shot on somebody that you think is going to make it as an outlier at the end of the draft. That's what they did.
Yeah. So, I mean, they got him 212. Their next draft pick was 244. You think it would have went in those 32 picks?
I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. I don't know. And if I was them, if you wanted this player and you felt confident in him, I'm okay with it. Again, I think people are just on this because this whole Nepo or Nepo baby talk people had a couple months ago.
I don't care about that.
Who cares? Whatever. He had a
good
college career.
I was talking about his
I hear you, but I'm saying, like, I think that's how people are making the big deal out of that. Who cares? He had a good college career. He's an outlier size-wise, so he went late because of that. It's fine. It's not a big deal. I don't see the big uproar. I'd love to make it an uproar because it's the Cowboys.
Yeah. Listen, I think when I was a sophomore or a junior, I was bigger than this guy in high school.
Seriously. So
I wrestled 189. So
I'm trying to even think when I was 5'5". I can't remember being 5'5". I was probably in like 6th grade when I was his height.
Probably 8th grade.
That's how long it's. No. I was 5.
I was over me.
Oh yeah, I was 5'10" as a freshman in high school.
I'm 5'10" as an adult.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad size. I remember being that size. But I was saying, so I mean, 5'5", I was probably, like I said, like very early middle school, elementary school, and that's his height. Like he's like Spud Webb height. He's gonna be like this man makes Darren Sproles look big.
They're gonna have to get him to beef up his forearms to make sure he secures that ball.
Can we get him maybe like the hooker boots version of football cleats?
Extra high cleats.
His cleats come from the Gene Simmons collection. All righty. Last pick of theirs, round 7, pick 244. Jalen Brooks, wide receiver out of South Carolina, 6'2", 205 pounds. And that's literally all the info I have. I couldn't find a single highlight tape of him. I couldn't find a single draft network, whether it be PFN or the draft network or anything like that, doing an actual profile on him. I couldn't find a damn thing on this kid.
You know what this pick reminded me of? It's to all those fantasy players out there. You're late in the 16th round. You're coming towards the end of the draft. You had one too many beers, and you're like, who's left on the board? That guy. Take that guy. That's
what
fine.
I'm getting at is how many players we're talking about that were still left and available. They could have gotten somebody better than that.
That's what I'm saying. There's some guys that take way too many beers during those fantasy drafts, and it's at the end. They're like, let's get this over with. Take that
Jerry
guy.
Jones. Jerry Jones definitely would have too many beers. That's for damn sure.
It was past his bedtime.
Yeah. So I mean, overall, their top picks were reaches. The rest of their guys after their first 3, I hadn't basically heard of any of them as being a decent prospect except for Deuce, who obviously we know the issues with there. That's a bad draft as far as I'm concerned. I'd give it a C+.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Like, because they have some room to gain on ceiling on some of these guys they did take, but I feel like there's way too much reaching on these guys.
Yep. No, like I said, way too much. And that's going to be a theme here because we have that coming up again here with the Commanders.
Oh, I see what you did. You went by grade.
No, actually, I didn't.
Oh. Or did you?
I did not.
Okay.
I actually went based in order of how the division finished last season. That's how I figured it out. Made sense, I thought. So
anyway, go on. Sorry.
Commanders' first pick they had was pick number 16. They picked Emmanuel Forbes, cornerback out of Mississippi State. We talked a good bit about him during our pre-draft talks here because this is one of the guys that was linked to the Giants pretty extensively. And listen, if it wasn't for his size, I'd be fine with the pick. 100% fine with the pick.
Yeah.
He's outside scheme. He's versatile in what scheme he can do. He's got a high football IQ. He's a ball hawk, but he's 166 pounds. Yeah.
He's got all the dimensions you want except for the mass.
Yes. I mean, even height, 6'1". He's got 32 and a quarter arms. Like, even that's not bad.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's got the dimensions. It's the mass is what's missing.
Yep.
Like, if you, even with 20 more pounds, I understand this pick a little bit more, but 166 pounds, we were talking about this before, I was pre-high school for me.
I mean, I was post-high school for me.
166 pounds?
Yes, seriously. My freshman year, I was 5'10", 104 pounds.
So that's pre-high school.
My freshman year is high school.
Yeah, how much were you?
5'10", 104 pounds.
Oh, damn, you're a skinny guy.
I was a twig, dude. I was a twig. I wish
I was like 170.
I wish I was still a little twiggish. Even my sophomore year, I was 6'1", 135 pounds. Yeah. So, did a little bit of growing.
Deep and wide.
Because I got the dad bod now. It's
deep and wide.
265 now, 6'7", 265. It's bad when you talk about football players. You're like, this guy's huge, and I'm like, yeah.
I mean, I'm a 5'10" guy that's 225. So,
yeah. But yeah, so in the end, Forbes is going to be a potential decent player in this league, but because of that weight, it's an outlier pick, and you don't make an outlier pick this early in the draft. The first half of literally, like, he's at the halfway point, I should say, even of the draft, of the first round.
We talked about him going in the second round.
Second round is what we had for him. And again, people had him in the first round as a late first round pick. Some guys, I don't think anybody had him in the mid first round.
No, I can't say no. Definitely, I'm speaking for everyone out there that did a mock draft.
No,
I didn't see them all, but I'm going to say I believe. I have not seen anything.
I believe I can touch the sky. I think about it every night and day.
Shake my balls with Manscaped.
That's way too high for my voice. I believe I can pee. Oh, R. Kelly. So
he's in jail for that.
He is. He's in jail for a lot of things. The damn freak. Next one up. I'm not sure what this means here. Connor says somebody had extra cheese on his burgers. And you know the funny thing is, I just finished my hamburger before we started this thing too, as well. But it wasn't a cheeseburger. Cheese. No, it was a cheeseburger. It was a cheeseburger. It had one slice of cheese, the appropriate amount. I scarfed one in before we get the show. I got some more sitting for me. We're done. So let's finish up. I gotta have more burgers then. I'm starving.
Beef right.
Next up, round 2, pick number 47, Jartavius Martin, safety out of Illinois. Another safety from Illinois. Nicknamed Quan. I don't know why they didn't say that in the draft when they saw the list of draft players there, but he's called Quan. I'm not sure why. Jartavius Quan. Nope. Doesn't make sense. But I'm guessing a middle name maybe or something. 5'11", 194 pounds. He was a corner prior to 2021. Good sideline to sideline speed, good tackler. Wasn't always, did a whole lot of work on it. I love a guy who works on an issue and fixes it while he's still in college. That shows me he's coachable. That shows me he hasn't reached the ceiling yet. Can cover in the slot in either a man or a zone scheme. Isn't the best in speed when changing directions. So he's not quick as far as that kind of stuff. There's a little issue with the shifty guys. Yep, and he's not shifty.
Yeah.
He also had issues in the long speed as well on top of that. This is why he was converted from a corner to a safety. There's reasons. He's also a little bit small at 194 pounds. I don't know what it is about the Commanders.
We're talking about a little bit small. If we just talked about a guy that was 166 pounds.
I know.
This guy's got 30 pounds on him.
So we liked him, but we gave him a third or fourth round grade on him, and they picked him in the second round.
Yeah. 47.
But again, a player we liked at least. I guess trying to be somewhat positive, even though it's not even our team. I just feel bad. I don't want to ever be the guy who just bash.
Reach.
Oh yes. Next pick.
Yeah.
Round 3, pick number 97, Ricky Stromberg, center out of Arkansas. We did talk about him briefly on the. I just realized Connor said he called me fat. He says, "'Cause you're fat now." That's why he meant the extra cheese on his burger. Wow, Connor. Words hurt.
Drew, you need a cheeseburger after that.
I do. But yeah, so Ricky Stromberg, we talked about him briefly in our interior offensive line, just because, to be honest, we wanted to include a couple extra centers because Ricky Stromberg was basically one of the last of the potential starting centers we had on our board there. Another guy that we thought we had rated lower at a 4th or 5th round. They got him in the late 3rd. So, I mean, this was a comp pick. So, I mean, it's almost the 4th.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bash them as much for this because...
No. I mean, especially if they like this guy because he was a 4-year starter.
In the SEC. That's key. 4-year starter in the SEC. And you know, I liked him a lot, too, is Bobby from Talking Giants liked him a lot. So, and that man knows his O-line. So,
yeah, he does.
So I'm going to say I thought it was a little bit of a reach, but not nearly as bad as a reach the other two did. The biggest concern I had is I saw him playing against some of the top talent in the SEC, and that's where he seemed to struggle. He did good against your typical SEC player, but when he had to go against the guys that were, blue chip NFL prospect kind of guys, which you do face in the SEC, that's where he had the issues. So, again, they got another O-line. It makes you wonder, though, what's going to happen with Nick Gates, because I thought they got Nick Gates to be their center, and now they'll get Ricky Stromberg. So is he going to play guard, or is Nick Gates going to play guard? Because, Nick Gates can play anywhere, and Stromberg played guard and center.
I think Nick Gates will be all over that field, and it's going to be sad to see that guy twice a year.
Yeah. They overpaid.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm not sad about it, they overpaid. Take your money, man. I don't blame him, but I would be pissed if we paid that kind of money.
I agree. I just still like the player. That's all I'm saying.
All right, on to the next pick. Round 4, pick 118. Braden Daniels, O-line out of Utah. 6'4", 294 pounds. Played at left tackle, played at right tackle, played at left guard. So very, very versatile kind of guy. Oh, yes. He's a slut.
Oh, he's a slut of the slots.
Probably best at guard in the NFL just based on his arm length. He's got a high football IQ. Blocks like he's angry. If you watch him, like he's that guy who's like grunting and all that kind of stuff while he's going. I kind of liked his tape, even though I think he limits in somewhat because of the talent level he has. But I like the tape. He's mobile. He's going to need to add some strength in the NFL. Also has some bad hand technique as well, which is part of what I didn't like on the tape.
But that's something that could be coached.
No. This actually wasn't a bad pick, I thought.
Yeah. One of the better picks.
Yeah, one of the maybe the only pick I say nothing bad about. Really, it's a good pick.
Yeah.
Pick number 5.
I
picked number 5. Pick round 5. Pick number 137. KJ Henry, edge out of Clemson. 6'4", 251 pounds. That's a big guy.
Yeah.
Again, I got 3 inches and 15 pounds in him, but whatever.
I mean, 250 on him is a little different than 250 on you. No offense.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The beach, it's both ways. I live in a peninsula.
Unless you're facing north and south, then you got.
Oh, it's still both ways. It's still both ways, actually.
One way is Antarctica, or the North Pole. The other way is
one is the Caribbean Sea, and one's the Gulf of Mexico. Still, because the Gulf of Mexico, the way it turns, I'm still good to go.
Oh, touche, where you're at, Tampa. That's right.
I'm surrounded by water. It's good and bad. Bad during a hurricane. So, like I said, smart player with good recognition, good size and length, good at setting the edge against the run, but definitely has issues getting off his blocks at times. Needs to refine his speed rush abilities because he pretty much has none. He's going to be a guy that basically you're going to bring in if you want to set the edge against an obvious running play. But if you think it's going to be passed, you're going to have to take him out. He's got no use right now. But again, that's coaching kind of stuff that can change. I think he's the guy you're going to see probably, somebody try to work on that kind of stuff. He's going to come in and goal line defenses. They might try to put him in some special teams, but I think that's kind of the extent to where you see him at right now. Keep in mind, though, we talked about a lot of Clemson players. And one of the first things whenever we looked at draft profiles, see what other people said to see if they validated what we thought after watching the tape. They said, I don't think this guy was used right. I don't think this guy was used right. That was a common theme. We heard about Miles Murphy. You heard of, what's his name? The defensive tackle. I'm drawing a blank here because it's late at night. But this was a common theme. So again, getting a guy who came from that kind of system late in the draft that has the size and you see some good things, not a bad pick.
No.
So, all righty. Round 6. I said it right this time. Pick 193. Chris Rodriguez Jr., running back from Kentucky. You got to say that way.
Newgrass. Kentucky.
Finger looking good. Fried chicken. A little bit of chicken fry. Cold beer on a Friday night.
And a pair of jeans that fit just right.
And the radio on. Anyway, since I was not raised beneath the shade of a Georgia pine. My mother was, though. I mean, she's from Georgia. So anyway, 6 foot even, 217 pounds, physical runner, very hard to bring down, very good at finding the end zone. Like I think the term nose for the end zone is probably used too often in what we do. But I'm going to use it here. This guy has a nose for the end zone. Like legit, like this guy finds the end zone.
Is it big like mine?
Yeah. No one schnoz is as big as yours.
It's like a bus crashing in my face.
We started the show and Rob was like, "Do you put deodorant on? I could smell something." Well, he's in Jersey. I'm in Florida.
You're only 1,500 miles away, but
But yeah, so no improvisation kind of guy. Not really the best athlete. It's not the guy that you go at the combine and go, "Ooh, that guy impressed." Also has no pass catching skills whatsoever. He's going to be a goal line back, I think. That's
he's going to be the red zone, up the gut kind of middle kind of guy.
Short down, red zone, special teams. That's where his lane is. Unless he all of a sudden gains speed. What we say you can't teach
speed.
So therefore, probably not going to happen.
Yeah, you can prove a little bit of speed, but a little bit of speed in the NFL compared to a little bit of speed to what you could gain, it's a big difference.
Oh yeah.
So,
alrighty, our last pick of the NFC East.
The last pick.
The final pick now. Round 7, pick 233. Andre Jones Jr. Edge at Louisiana. As Connor says, oh my gosh. Connor says, we could use his nose to rid the cocaine problem in the world.
Listen, I'm the last guy you want to share that with.
Listen, you might get rid of Rob in that case, though, too.
Yeah,
it's a problem.
I'll be like the cocaine bear.
Oh, God. I just got to see that movie.
It's everything you want out of a movie that's called Cocaine Bear.
Cocaine and bears, okay.
Yeah.
Plus
Bear, singular.
Plus Ray Liotta doing his last performance ever.
Oh, he knew exactly what kind of movie that was. And he gave a great performance.
That and nobody else was really calling him. The guy was like 70 years old and trying to play a tough mobster. I'm sorry. Just at a certain point, you
did cocaine.
At a certain point, you just lose the ability to play a tough mobster.
It's true.
70 is around that age, yes.
Yeah.
Unless you're Sylvester Stallone. That guy still acts tough. It still looks good.
Listen, he did Expendables and like cracked the vertebrae in his neck at 71, and I believed he was still a tough guy.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
All right.
Anyway.
Back to Andre.
Yeah.
6'5", 244 pounds, very experienced. He's already 24. So that comes with the good experience. It comes with the bad. How much room is there for growth at 24 years old when you played college for multiple years like that? Deconstructs blocks very well. Bad technique getting out of his stance. Also weak lower body, which if those who aren't aware, football is played 90% with the lower body. As much as people want to talk about punches and reaches and grab balls and that kind of stuff and manscaping. Who said that?
Well, everyone knows that like even with your punches, it comes from your hips and it comes from your legs. Like when you're punching up, like
you drive with your legs. You drive with 100%. Your legs. So that's an issue. Again, is that an issue you can fix in the gym, maybe even? But
5-3-1.
I mean, I said this with some of our guys even too. I wish if you're picking late and you're picking a project, you pick a guy who's like 21, not a guy who's 24, 25. So bad pick, I think personally for that reason alone. But again, it's a 7th round pick. You can't harp on a 7th round pick. Most 7th round picks. Some of them don't even make it out of camp, even, let alone make it out of their first contract. So, all righty. So let's go over some of the winners and losers overall in the draft here as we have our final draft discussion. Oh, yes. It's time to put the 2023 NFL draft to bed.
For now.
Connor says, I always love how Philly cheers for Sylvester Stallone and he's from New York, LOL. Listen, I always like that Philly cheers for their greatest hero when he's not even a real hero.
He's a made-up person. There's plenty of things in history that Philly can use.
They put a statue to the guy even. He's not even real.
Because he won an Oscar.
All righty. Draft day winners. Guess who my first one is?
Ooh, I think I know who.
Your New York Football Giants. Again, we had issues with some of the draft picks. I don't want to take that away, but Banks wasn't the guy we would have taken, but he filled the need. We definitely didn't like the Eric Gray pick, not because we didn't like the player, but we didn't like the value of where they were picking him. But in the end, they had 3 big holes in that roster: center, CB2, and a potential number 1 wide receiver. And while I don't expect Jalen Hyatt to step in as a number 1 receiver, I think his ceiling is there. His ceiling is there.
It is.
And let me be very clear on this before somebody says I said something I didn't say. I'm never sitting there saying that Jalen Hyatt is someone I expect to become a number 1 wide receiver. But he has speed you can't teach. He's got a better route running ability than I think some people gave him credit for coming out of college. He embarrassed the hell out of the Cowboys wide receiver coach when he tried to call him out. If everybody didn't see that tape yet, look at that. Look at Jalen Hyatt, Cowboys wide receiver coach, because he tried to tell him you don't know how to run routes, and he showed him up. He took it very personal. I like seeing that.
Yeah, all these guys are coachable.
Yep.
All these guys are competitive. So and they're all athletic. So we filled the room with talent and competitiveness. Goes a long way when you put those two together.
Gotta love it.
Because some people have the talent, they don't have the drive. Some people have the drive, but they don't have the talent or the body for it. These guys in these positions kind of fit all these niches that we need in the top 3 picks. So
and they fit the systems.
Yeah, 100%.
So, all right, number 2 of our winners. This team could very well have the offensive and defensive rookie of the year. That's how good their first 2 picks were.
Yeah.
That's how good. The Seattle Seahawks getting Devin Witherspoon, who is our number 1 wide receiver from our cornerback from our corner.
You're jumping to number 1.
Foreshadowing. Number 1 cornerback from our pre-draft shows there. A guy that we both loved a lot. A guy that, like I mean, Will Anderson Jr. is the best prospect because you always go for an edge guy over a corner because in the end, edge affects the run and the pass, whereas corner is much more against primarily the run. I mean, the pass, even though there is some run, obviously, as well. It's getting late. Stop. But again, Devin Witherspoon has the highest ceiling potential because he's still learning the position. He's still learning to play, and he's still freaking amazing. I will always be upset that we didn't get him in this draft because I think he's that good of a player. I think he has the potential to be as close to Sauce Gardner this year as there is. I said as close to, not Sauce, because Sauce was just that good of talent. Who I also
special guy.
Still very upset we didn't get because I would have taken him over Kayvon in a heartbeat. And I know that's hard to say because Kayvon is a Giant now and I support him. But I knew Sauce was going to be special. Their second pick, Jackson Smith-Njigba. The best wide receiver. Now I said the right this time. The best wide receiver in this draft. The guy who scored, 15 touchdowns and 1,700 yards in the Rose Bowl alone.
Something like that. Maybe 34 touchdowns and 1,700 yards. Yeah. Something like that.
I mean, anytime you get the best wide receiver and the best corner in the draft, you had a good draft.
Never underestimate Sneaky Pete.
Sneaky Pete.
Telling you guys all year since we started this podcast.
Our third one we'll just skip. It's the Eagles.
Yeah.
They definitely won in the draft, especially just getting Ringo alone. That could be the steal of the draft. The Packers, who I'm not hearing a lot of people call one of the winners of the draft. I'm calling it because they get an edge position where they needed some edge help. Then what they do? They said, hold on.
They reimagined that offense. What they just did.
They just said basically, hey, Aaron Rodgers is gone. We can stop screwing with him.
Wipe the board. We're starting over.
Son.
Yeah. Us playing the chalkboard.
Yeah. I mean, so they get rid of they go edge in the first round. Then they get 3 weapons on offense for their new starting quarterback back to back to back. 2 tight ends, one of them a very serviceable pass catching tight end, and a wide receiver. I mean, again, you can't complain about that too.
It was a humongous FU to Aaron.
Yeah, and I mean, even the wide receiver they got is very dynamic. I mean, like I said, I like the moves they made. I really did. Later on, you can question some of the stuff they did, but for the first round, I can kind of question a little bit. But for the first 4 rounds, to get 3 out of 4 be weapons for your new quarterback, can't complain at all. Connor says, Mingo, should have got Mingo. That's all I'm saying. And then only problem with Mingo is he has a tiny QB that could cost him with getting picked by Carolina. I feel like Connor is taking over for John Anderson as the president of the Mingo Club. Let's get on to some of the biggest losers. The Lions, number 1. Lions.
They had such potential to take over that division this year.
Talk about listen. They still can is the scary part because they made the right moves ahead of time.
Is it called a lion hunt?
But Jahmyr Gibbs, who we talked about him as a late one, early second round pick. And again, he's a running back. It means a lot for a running back to go in the first round. They took him number 12. Number 12. What?
Yeah, why? Especially when you had talent in that backfield.
And
you want to get rid of him. We talked about that already.
Yeah. And they had a second first round pick. They could have tried to get him later.
Yeah.
They took him number 12. And then their second pick they took, Sam Laporta. Michael Myers sitting there on the board ready to go. He went the next pick. What the hell, guys? You had the chance to take the best tight end in the draft. And you took the third. No.
They done goofed.
Now, they do get a little bit of good vibe. So if we're still taking my man QB Hendon Hooker, because that's a good pick, I think. That's going to turn into some big picks later on. Because I think the way it's going, they might keep Goff. They keep Goff. They have this guy to trade for picks later on. They got a third-round pick where they got him at. Later on, when they get a second-round pick and a fourth-round pick, so they'll get a damn good pick. All righty.
We'll see.
Next loser in the draft. Loser. Tennessee Titans. Drafting another QB in Will Levis, Mr. Mayo and his coffee himself. But didn't draft a wide receiver until pick 228. What the? You guys have no
Brandon
receiver.
Cooks.
You have no wide receiver whatsoever on that team. Basically, you hope Burks is their first round pick from last year to do something, and he showed small flashes, but you don't have anybody dependable really at wide receiver. You got rid of Woods. And you didn't pick pick 228. That's like franchise malpractice right there. I'm sorry. That's ridiculous.
Especially after you saw what Mills had to offer. Yeah.
So, I also am going to pick the Commanders because we talked about the Cowboys and their reaches. The Commanders, to me,
they look like Stretch Armstrong.
Overkill on those first couple of picks. And I actually didn't remember. I just remember we didn't give a final draft analysis on the Commanders. So I'm going to say this. I think they had a better draft than the Cowboys because I think both teams reached. And I think the fact that they, in the end, got some better latter round picks, I'm going to give them a B- instead of the C+ we gave to the Cowboys.
They get a C from me.
So
they're borderline to C-. I think they reached too much, and I think Cowboys they reached too, but I think some of these guys had a better ceiling. I feel like they just took each guy around ahead of where they're supposed to take him. I mean, some of the picks I could go at the Cowboys are like, all right, I kind of get that reach, but
yeah, I mean, the big issue has been for me is that I can't get past the Emmanuel Forbes. Like, you had a 16th overall pick in a very weak draft, and you took a guy that had a second round grade when there were still better players. I mean, you could easily make the case that Banks should have been picked over him. That Porter should have been picked over him. There's a whole
solid
bunch.
Cases to make that. There's very solid.
There's a whole bunch of them. As Connor comes in with wrong way L, Roberto. He was right. You did it the wrong way. He did it
it's mirrored. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got to do it the opposite way now. It's mirrored.
Well, that's what I did. Did this? No, did it? No, I did the same.
He also, speaking of where the hell is John S. Anderson Jr. John, unfortunately, cannot watch the show live anymore, but he still comments to us in chat as well. So, yeah, we know what's going on, John. He's good. He's good people. But yes, one more loser I had. The Minnesota Vikings. They got a good wide receiver in Jordan Addison. We talked about him, probably highest floor of the four big ones there. He's a
great compliment to Jefferson.
And a great replacement for Thielen.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here's the problem. They still don't have an answer at QB.
I was going to say, who's going to throw him the ball? Not this season, but the following season.
Well, yeah, because this season we know it's going to be Kirk Cousins, who's in his last year of his deal. They've already said they're not going to go ahead and they're not going to go ahead and talk extensions with him this year. Like I said it before, and I'll say it again. I think that last play against the Giants killed his career. I think the Vikings realized they can't win with him. They can't. He's not the guy who's going to get you a ring. Move on. That's the goal, is a ring. I know that Minnesota's never gotten a ring, but
if that's what they truly believed, why was there no QB even like drafted, looked at? Like there were some guys that sat there late.
They were looked at. That's the weird thing that makes no sense to me. Hendon Hooker got brought in personally to the facilities that spent a day or two in Minnesota and everything. And I don't know if they just kept on putting it off, thinking he'd be there later on, or what the deal was. Even Will Levis, you could have made that argument for that he could have gone with them as well, and they could have traded up into the beginning of the second round to go ahead and get Will Levis on day 2 as well. Again, to me, not having a quarterback, not having a plan at quarterback is a big issue.
Yeah,
because now you're talking about you're going to have to either find one next year, or you're going to have to tank for a year to hope to get a quarterback in the draft.
That is one of the, if not the most position of your offense, because he's pretty much your take commander. He's the guy that's telling everyone what to do and how to set everything up.
Yep.
And
huge mistake.
What are you going to do? You're going to go out next year or the following year? Are you going to sign another Kirk Cousins kind of player? What are you going to get, Derek Carr in 2 years? Like, what are you going to do? You going to get Mills?
Connor says, can't blame him completely. His O-line sucked. We got after him. Oh, yeah. Daniel Jones had the best O-line. Just saying. You can only give these excuses for so long. The guy's like 37 years old, or however old he is. He's been in the league forever. He's never won a damn thing. He's not going to win a damn thing because he's just not that quarterback. Certain people are winners in football. Certain people are not.
He goes to the Patriots. They win another ring.
He's I just looked it up, by the way. He's 34. I mean, he's towards the end of his career. In the end,
you're just adding 3 years on everyone.
Kirk Cousins is more Dak Prescott than Eli Manning. Calling it like it is.
That's a fair assessment.
Not even trying to diss the Dak and the Cowboys in this process. It's just, to me, it's a fair assessment. Here's a guy who puts up stats, looks good in the regular season, can't win a damn thing in the postseason. That's what matters. That's what matters in the end. All righty, guys. That concludes our draft coverage for the year 2023. On to next year. We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys next year. No kidding.
Adios.
So yeah. So Friday for you guys, we're gonna have a taped episode because Rob's got to take the missus out for her birthday celebration. So the way to help him with that is to go ahead and share the episode out to all your friends. Hit that like button, hit that comment button anyway, because you can still comment. We'll still comment back to you guys even after the fact. And then we're going to go ahead and start doing all the episodes next week, where we're going to have some of those also the same thing. Because like I said, I'm going away to the Bahamas. I need a little tropical vacay. And since I'm so close, why not the Bahamas? Let's go for it. A little Coco Cay, a little Nassau, little clear blue waters. So maybe I'll post some pictures for you guys on the Facebook, since that's the most active social media we have is Facebook, because we're old people. But so Friday's episode, we're going to have for you guys, we're going to do a rundown on the wide receiver room and what's going on there, because let's be honest, it was kind of a log jam to begin with before we even got Jalen Hyde in the third round. Now that we got Jalen, you got a lot of players there.
Yeah.
So we're going to give you guys a rundown of what we think is going to happen. Who's going to be a Giant? Who's going to be cut? Who might go to the practice squad? All that kind of fun stuff there. We're going to analyze it based on ability, based on contract, the things that actually matter, not just gut feeling. Crazy. So again, guys, we'll have that for you. That'll be on a taped live broadcast for you guys Friday night there. And again, we'll be live on Monday. We'll be live on Wednesday next week. And then Friday and Monday after that will be the next ones that are going to be recorded. But like I said, guys, we'll still be on. I actually do have Wi-Fi on the cruise ship as well, so I might pop in the comment section, set myself an alarm, and pop on in and say hello from down below the deck. See what I did there?
It would definitely be manscaping down below.
Oh yes. Speaking of manscaping, again, save 20% off plus get free shipping at Manscaped.com. Also works if your power goes out, you get a little flashlight involved with it here.
Yeah.
So, again, guys, remember, summer's coming. Sweat's going to happen. You avoid the sweat by having less hair. Plus, the women tend to like it. Ask your woman.
Don't forget that deodorant when you're down there sweating everything off.
Oh, yeah.
Trust me, your balls will thank you.
Now, she'll also thank you for that as well, because sweaty balls, while it's a great SNL bit, it's not a favorite thing of the ladies.
No one likes a little extra vinegar on the dish.
No, they do not. They do not. No, there's only so much a fruit roll-up can hide. I'm not going to get into that. I heard about this today.
Cucumbers are sweet, but pickles are bathed in vinegar.
Your face there, you're like, he did not just say that. I did. So again, guys, remember, summer's coming. You make the ladies happy. I guarantee you, ask your significant other. I'm going to say it that way because, we're okay with anybody, whoever's with anybody. So ask your significant other if they prefer you shaven, and I guarantee you they will say yes. My better half's birthday is this weekend, and trust me, this is one of my gifts to her. Yes, he's doing the shamrock design. Oh, she'll get lucky. All right, guys. As always, we appreciate you guys listening in here. Appreciate everybody that got a second to chime on in the comments section as well. As always, appreciate it. Helps get the show moving along there as well. Again, we're live on Facebook. We're live on Twitter. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitch. We're live on my LinkedIn profile. We're also, of course, on After the Fact on all those pages as well. And, of course, we're on every audio podcast platform pretty much known to man there. If you want to get involved with the show and be part of as far as the comments and all, guys, the best way to do it is to go on YouTube or Facebook. Those are the two that if you post a comment will pop right onto here so we can see it. If you do it on Twitter or anywhere else, we're not going to see it till later on. It doesn't pop up automatically. Not sure why they have those limitations on different platforms, but they do. And, of course, again, comment, hit the subscribe, hit the like, give a rating on the audio as well there. As Connor says, have a good vacation, Drew. Happy B-Day to your ball and chain, Roberto. As I give my ball and chain. But again, guys, appreciate everybody listening in today. We know you guys have plenty of options where to get all your Giants news from, and even the draft news, NFC East news. We appreciate you guys choosing these two goofballs to be the ones to give it to you guys. So as always, Giant fans, go G-Man! Go G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support. If you made it this long, you must have enjoyed it. So I am sure you have followed us on all the social media platforms. Of course, you have subscribed to the show on your favorite app as well and given us a top rating. Right? Right? Right?